carnivore diet to me is the biggest answer, the easiest answer to the poison problem that you can take control of right now. You don't have to wait for Donald Trump and Elon and Calley Means and anybody else that they're going to work with to do the things they're going to do to find ways to get healthy. Hello everyone, welcome back to Ferrigno Freedom channel. I'm Dante Ferrigno and I have been on a carnivore way of eating now known as the lion diet for 4 years. Today is my 4-year carniversary, January 14th, 2025, and it has been an amazing journey, I can tell you, because I still just can't get over the fact that I get to wake up every day in this body as opposed to the one that I used to live in back when I started this way of eating. You know, life has just gotten so much better as far as my ability to deal with things, to be able to face physical difficulties, mental challenges, even spiritual challenges, all because of getting all this poison out of my system. Well, that's why I decided today I want to come and review this video with you where Russell Brand is talking to Calley Means, one of our favorites here on the carnivore community, because he is doing a lot to fight a lot of the poison that's in our food, just like we've been talking about for many months and years here on Ferrigno Freedom channel and on a lot of other channels. So I wanted to take a look at this and see, because this is only about a week old and I haven't had a chance to watch it. I've been working so doggone much on my new job. I'm just thankful to be here because I have just been busy. But I wanted to get back and talk to you guys because, one, it is my 4-year carniversary, and two, I miss talking to you. I love when we have a chance to sit and talk and have our time together. So let's take a look at this video. I'm going to bring it up here real quick. It's called "You're Eating Poison," and that about sums it up. Whenever I watch people eating these days, because of my experience on the lion diet, once I got all the poison out of my system, it just changed everything. So I'm going to bring this video up here and we're going to jump right in and take a look and see what it says.
Where does the opposition come from? You refer to kind of slithering backstage interest behind folks in the Senate and in Congress. What is the locus and location of these dark powders, and how does this new and emergent America attack it?
So I'll go to the previous how it worked, and I think Bobby and President Trump and their mandate can change this. But imagine FDA in a previous administration. If they even thought about touching or reviewing one chemical, these 10,000 chemicals in our food that aren't legal in any other country, they started talking, they would be absolutely berated with letters from members of Congress saying, this is crazy, this is an attack on innovation, this is an attack on the farmers in my district. So that's where the fact that there's 5 pharma lobbyists and 3 food lobbyists for every single member of Congress comes in. They pay them, they get the letters, and that bureaucrat who's reviewing those standards at the FDA just gets pounded. The president's getting a bunch of calls from members of Congress and senators saying this is crazy. And they play really aggressive because it's literally, if they did one small thing, it was just pound. So that, oh gosh, the bureaucrats, oh, I'm getting bombarded by Congress, we got to slow down. So that's one. Another way things get delayed is just bureaucratic, the blob. So you can say you do something, but then the lawyers who are interviewing for their next job at pharma inevitably deep in the administrations. And I believe, frankly, and this is obviously clear, there's corrupt incentives and people being paid within the department itself. It's okay. The directive just gets kicked around, and then 9 months later, oh, well, we're still looking at that. So there's bureaucratic infighting. This is where I think the Doge and the Elon philosophy comes in. I mean, I'm an Elon fanboy. I'll admit it. I think Elon's the most important. I think Elon and Trump are the two people in the world right now. People are going to remember in history books in 50, 100 years. Nobody's going to remember us. It just, they're the two seminal figures. And the whole Elon philosophy of radical change, of, firing the 80% of the company, working better, of moving fast. I think in a weird way, actually thinking big might be better, because we can have holistic conversations instead of getting the paper cuts on every single regulation. What I'm hoping can happen is that, when you talk to the food industry, for instance, you ask them behind closed doors, are you happy? Do you think it's a good thing that demonstrably you make products that are less healthy in America than the exact same product you formulate for Europe? Is that a good thing that demonstrably we all agree it's less healthy in America? They're like, no, that's not good. We ask them, is it good that we have?
That is a great point, because it's the same companies supplying Europe and the United States Why do they treat us differently? Only because they can, because the laws are designed to be, it's all part of the bureaucratic system. And it started all the way back with Woodrow Wilson when he decided to say that administration of government needs to run like a business. And then we started doing more and more groups and more things where the government was getting involved in people's lives. And the more power government has over our individual lives, especially within the bureaucracy, where you're talking about the people who are not elected, the people who are basically just given the task of writing the laws based on what Congress came up with, because the laws that Congress comes up with doesn't talk about how they're enacted. It's the bureaucracy that does that. And nobody gets fired. Nobody gets in trouble for anything they do. And they just keep moving in the direction they want to go in. When it comes to the lobbyists, though, the thing with the lobbyists is, lobbying should be something that we would be able to do. But because we are so far away from federalism in this country, ever since the passing of the 16th and the 17th Amendment back in the early 20th century, we literally broke federalism and put so much power in the central government that the states don't have any say anymore. So now we're dealing with a situation where, you used to have one representative for, I think it was like 35,000 people in your community that would be for one representative. Well, they capped that off a long time ago because they could only fit so many people in the building. Not that they haven't spent enough money to make another building, but still, that was sort of their reasoning. So now our representatives represent millions of people. Each constituency, it represents millions of people, so that there's just, you never get to know your representative. You don't really know those people like you would in a way that you would lobby the way lobbying was designed to be. And they call it lobbying because you were supposed to be, as a citizen, to be able to go up and speak to your representative and say, hey, these are my concerns. I wanted to talk to you in the lobby about my concerns. Well, now lobbying has become, how can I make backdoor deals to isolate my competition, to keep the competition out of the game that I'm in, and to basically make us both some money. That person that's being lobbied and the person that's doing the lobbying, the person who's the actual lobbyist for, say, the food company or the pharma industry. They're just making handshake deals to get anything they want passed through. And then you got the FDA on top of that, which is a part of the bureaucracy. And when you realize how their GRAS system works, generally recognized as safe, it's basically just rubber stamping anything that comes down the line if it's only remotely close to the previous version of something that had been applied or approved. But the problem is you've got a daisy chain of new changes to where something that started as one thing and changed slightly and then changed slightly again and slightly again and slightly again. Each time it's being rubber stamped until it gets to this level. And now it's not even the same thing. It's totally done a 180-degree turn from what it originally was, but each time it's been approved because generally recognized as safe. So this is going to be okay. And they just keep moving on.
They're like, no, that's not good. You would ask them, is it good that we have so many chemicals in our food that we are not able to import a lot of our agriculture to Europe, which is the world's second largest market? Is that a good thing? Like literally, that's true, right? We can't even export most of our food. No, that's not good. So everyone kind of agrees that there's a problem. And I think potentially with Trump and RFK bringing light to this and bringing big thinking, I'm optimistic we can get stakeholders together and actually figure out how to unwind some of this. And I will say, this isn't on the food front. It's not just the food industry. They've held their hands with government to create a totally corrupt subsidy system where right now our fourth largest entitlement program goes Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid, and then SNAP. We spent $150 billion for, food subsistence for lower income Americans. 15% of Americans depend on this program. It's a government failure too that 18% of that money, it's 18% now go to sugary drinks. And that money is basically funding poison for lower income Americans to drive up healthcare costs and destroy the human capital of our population.
He mentioned something there about subsidies that I run into with a lot of folks who are getting Social Security now, not subsidies, but entitlements. And they'll say, Social Security is not an entitlement. I understand exactly what you mean by that because you feel like I put into it, I should be able to get back out of it. This is my investment. The government didn't set it up that way. There's never been as Al Gore said back in the day, a lockbox for Social Security, and there never has been one put in since then either. The lockbox for Social Security would have been to say that all this money comes into this investment fund or whatever it is that they're going to store this in, something that bears interest and actually gains money, gains value as it builds, that they could use as a backdrop, kind of like the way insurance companies have to have backup reserves for things. Well, the government never made a backup reserve for Social Security. They're just putting all of that money, the responsibility of paying that money out on the backs of whoever's coming into the labor force right now. And that's not fair to those young people. It's not fair to the people who are on Social Security. It's not fair to me. I'm supposed to get Social Security someday. I don't think it's going to be there when that time comes. So I'm trying not to put all my eggs in that basket. But what he's talking about is how much money the government spends on a regular basis on things that it can't afford because it's made promises that it can't deliver. And that's what's crippling us financially when it comes to that.
To drive up healthcare costs and destroy the human capital of our population. You know, unwinding these structures isn't just punitive to the food industry. We need to figure out a different subsidy system. We need to actually take responsibility, I think, for the government of what we've done with this broken subsidy system nobody likes. So I think if you can really like actually have stakeholders and the stakeholders like ag and like the food industry can actually see this as an opportunity to basically be dragged reluctantly to some change, but also behind closed doors, figure out a new system that actually works for stakeholders. I'm optimistic, Russell. I think I cannot emphasize enough how the independent media spotlight, like I've always said this, I said this is why President Trump, who I was not on the train for President Trump in 2016, right? I think his election was the most important election in my lifetime by far. I think he's the most important figure of my lifetime because I've always said this, the executive spotlight on this issue, calling out the FDA or calling out these slithering people who try to sneak these regulations in. We just didn't have light on it before. So with the light President Trump and Bobby can show and these smart people that are being picked, we got to be strategic. But you know, I think we can get them done. The last thing I'll say, Russell, as we're thinking about this, is these are unimpeachable arguments. Like, should research be transparent? Like, without even talking about vaccine, should we have data available on what the trials are or know if there haven't been trials? Can we be able to generally support vaccines while also saying that it's a terrible incentive, as Aaron Siri points out, that there's complete immunity protection. And the second you get on the vaccine schedule, you have mandated government payments for this drug for every American and enforcement from the government for them to take them. I mean, you can have two things at once, and bringing these things in the open, they're unimpeachable arguments that I think are winning arguments.
All right, well, there you go. That pretty much sums up something that I've been saying for a long time is, you know, Russell Brand's title, You're Eating Poison, is clarifying the fact that, just like an example that I can give is that when I went to travel overseas back in 2006, I'll never forget spending 2 weeks in Italy and eating the food there. And, you know, we ate out all the time. So, I mean, eating out would mean that maybe I'm even taking more of a risk because I'm going to be getting whatever they put in the food. But I noticed that when I got back to the United States was when I noticed that I felt sick eating the food. When I was eating the food here, after 2 weeks of not eating the food here, I immediately noticed that I felt sick for the first week or so after I got back. And then my body just kind of got used to the junk that was in our food. And that was 19 years ago. So if that's the case 19 years ago, and there is far more junk in our food these days, it's like they just keep coming up with something else to add to their ingredients lists that look like a chemistry experiment. And most people don't know what that stuff means. And even the ones that they do know, or they think they know what it means, like say, for instance, citric acid sounds like it's a safe substance, comes from lemons and oranges. I've talked about this a lot. But citric acid doesn't come from those things when they use it to make food products. It comes from Aspergillus niger, which is a black mold. It's a type of mushroom, basically, but it's still a mold that they use to harvest that citric acid to give your food that little sweet flavor that make it taste a little bit zippy, that makes you want to, I want some more of that. But it also causes inflammation. And inflammation in your body causes other chronic problems to build up. It causes pain. It causes pain in your joints. It's so pervasive with what's in our food. To say we're eating poison is not an understatement. But if we can get away from the ultra-processed food, the seed oils, and the sugar, we can get healing in our body like we've never seen before. With a carnivore diet, I never eat any of that stuff. I never have any seed oils. I never have any sugar. I never have any processed food. I just take a steak, put some salt on it, put it in my air fryer or on my Schwenk grill, and I'm ready to go. And I'm eating what God put here for us to eat. The stuff that we've been eating for so long that we drew cave paintings about it many years ago. We can read the Bible and read about how they raised all kind of cattle and pigs and other animals. You don't think they were just raising those to ride around or for looking at. That was for eating. That's what people ate, especially if people could afford to eat meat. It was expensive to eat meat. It's still expensive to eat meat. But I have found that even though I live a regular life financially, I mean, I'm barely getting by just like a lot of us. And yet I'm able to live a carnivore lifestyle. Why? How can I buy meat that runs a lot of times on the shelf, 10, 15, sometimes $20 a pound? I've seen steaks and stuff you can order online, $40 a pound for steak? This blows my mind. Well, I go for shopping for the specials. I look for good USDA choice meat whenever it goes on sale, and I stock up. I buy whole cows from a local rancher when I can afford to do that all at once because it'll last a very long time. And I know I'm getting even the best beef because I know the rancher. I know how he raises the animals. I know they're raised cleanly. He uses a regenerative farming practice. They're all grass-fed and finished. So I know I'm getting the healthiest type of meat that's available. And even when I buy meat from the store, those animals, specifically ruminants that I eat on the lion diet, are the animals that are designed to remove the toxins from their food before they actually ingest it into their body. They're able to go through a process that doesn't put that poison into their meat. So that's the beautiful thing about ruminants. And for a lot of carnivores, they can still eat pork and shrimp and seafood and chicken and things like that, and it's going to be just fine because they're getting everything they need from their food. As long as they're getting enough fat and enough protein, as long as they're not eating too little, then they're going to get everything that they need from their food, and they're not going to need anything else. You're going to hear arguments about people needing fiber to be able to get stuff to go down. In 4 years, I have not needed fiber to have a comfortable time going to the bathroom. But prior to Lion Diet, I was constipated almost every single morning. So all I can say is if you're worried about constipation, I have had exactly the opposite response to that. Now, when you eat things you shouldn't on a carnivore diet, when you bring in some of this poison again, your body is running clean. It's like a car where you've gotten all the bad stuff out, and then you put some gas in it that had water in it. That water in the gas tank is going to ruin that engine. Same thing happens to me when I eat something I shouldn't. If I eat something especially that has wheat, because wheat is typically not the original wheat that we have. They've come up with a whole new bioengineered version of wheat that we're fed all the time. Plus, they spray it with poison that you know as Roundup or glyphosate to do the harvesting. They can't get that out of there. And all of that stuff has neural disruptors and all kind of problems that can be affected in your body by that. The point is I can feel the difference when I eat something that I shouldn't. And the only times I eat something I shouldn't is usually when my emotions are a little out of control. And I'll be honest, working this new job, working in life insurance, something that is challenging to say the least, and trying to maintain my channel has been quite difficult. But with God's help, I know I can get through and keep on encouraging you guys down the right path, and also taking care of my family, whether it's through life insurance or who knows, maybe someday my channel will skyrocket up to the top and I won't have to do 2 different things at the same time. If I had my druthers, I'd just be here talking to you guys about how to get healthy and encouraging you and working on ferrignofreedom.com, where you guys can come and speak directly with me or join into group meetings with me so we can talk about the different questions that you might have. I get so many comments on Facebook that I don't have time to read, unfortunately, but I still want your comments because I do take the time to read as many as I can. I try to answer questions when I can. Sometimes I even answer them right here on the show. So leave your questions in the comments and I'll do my best to get to them. But if you just need to get in touch with me, ferrignofreedom.com is the way you can do that. And then there's also a video section there where you can go back and see all of my videos, including my very first video, which I always recommend for new people, 125 days on lion diet. You can see my first 4 months of experience on this and see how I transformed from a very unhealthy, fat, miserable person to a vibrant, lively, comfortable in my own skin. I'm at my high school wrestling weight at age 52. I've said that so many times on this channel, but I still can't believe that I get to say that. I can't believe that I get to wear size 32 jeans, that my legs don't rub together when I walk. I mean, these are things that are great. My knees are stronger than they ever have been because I found the strength to exercise finally because of the diet that I had. I used to have to try so hard just to get out for 30 minutes, maybe a week if I got out for 30-minute walk. And then I felt like I just wasted my time because I didn't walk fast enough for it to be good. My knees couldn't take the pounding. But thanks to Lion Diet, I've been able to get off all the meds that I was on when I first started. I've been able to heal my body of so many different things. So many things like my skin got better. I decided to shave my hair because I said, man, I'm not hiding behind this stuff anymore. I used to have, I got a bald spot up here and I was balding right here. But I always said I was going to shave my head if I ever went bald. Well, Lion Diet gave me the courage to say, I don't want to hide anymore. I'll just go ahead and go like I want to. And it's been great. It has just been great, this lifestyle that Carnivore has brought. And I want everyone who is hurting right now, who is out there suffering, saying, I need to lose this weight. Even though I don't look at Carnivore diet as a weight loss diet, it does cause you to lose weight in the long run. Sometimes people spike up a little bit when they first start, but eventually there's no way your body can keep eating protein and fat alone and not lose weight. Because your body is going to say, okay, we need to get something from somewhere else, and it's going to start pulling it out of your fat stores. When you start pulling out of your fat stores, you start dropping that weight off, and that's going to relieve so many different chronic problems. Carnivore diet, to me, is the biggest answer, the easiest answer to the poison problem that you can take control of right now. You don't have to wait for Donald Trump and Elon and Calley Means and anybody else that they're going to work with to do the things they're going to do to find ways to get healthy. Not to mention, even though I'm a very big fan of the new administration and all the plans that they have for health and for a number of other things for that matter, I still have a strong distrust of government because I know those deals are being worked behind the scenes between a lot of those representatives and a lot of those lobbyists, and they're getting a lot of pressure from the companies that want to make this money and the people who are in Congress who are making tons of money off of all this. I mean, how else do they go to Congress making $172,000 or whatever it is that a representative makes right now, or even the president $400,000 a year, and they come out millionaires, all from their time in Congress? I thought this was public service, not self-service, but that's what it seems like it's become. But anyway, I didn't want to go and harp on too much about the government. I did want to be able to look at the idea that we're eating poison and bring that to your attention, because I see it over and over with people that I love and care about. They'll eat right for a little while and they'll say, well, I'm just going to have a little bit of this that I like, this little bit of poison. And it's like every day. I'm like, why even try to eat healthy if you're going to keep adding poison back in? Why are you going to try to take your car to get them to fix the water in the gas tank problem if you're just going to add a little more water in the gas tank on a regular basis? It's like there's no point in trying to do it if you're not going to take it seriously, that you got to stop eating the poison. And when you get it through your head that the stuff we see in the grocery store that has been normalized to us as being food is not food. It's absolutely not food. It is small doses of poison with just enough nutrients in it to keep you alive. And when you start to realize that, you say, you know what? I can't feed this to my family. I can't eat this for myself because I can't take care of my family if I'm unhealthy because of what I'm using to power my body. Then you realize you got to make a change. And that change might just be a carnivore way of eating that changed everything for me. I think it can change everything for you. It's changed everything for a lot of people that I've worked with. Now, again, I'm just some guy on YouTube. I've had great experience with the carnivore diet. I've had tons of people write into me and tell me how it's changed their lives. I've done interviews here on this channel with many people. And if you've had a story that you'd like to share, I would like you to reach out to me on ferrignofreedom.com and let me know your story. And I'll be glad to have you on the show, and we'll share your story with the world, so we have a chance to get more people to know about all the different things that going on a carnivore way of eating has been able to do for them. Well, anyway, that's all I've got for this one, guys. Please stick around for a quick message from one of my sponsors. These are the people that help me pay the bills. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.
If we pay extra, could we maybe get some grease or fat?
The Carnivore Bar, compared to movie theater snack prices, it's no competition. With a tub of popcorn running you over $14, I'd much rather enjoy the salty, crunchy, meaty goodness of a Carnivore Bar any day. And I don't have to cheat to enjoy my night out. Carnivore Bar. Save 10 to 20% when you use my link in the description of this video. Hey, it's Dante Ferrigno. I just wanted to thank you first of all for watching this video, but I also wanted to tell you about my merch shop. I have a link in the description for a bunch of different items I've put together for you to be able to show your support for the carnivore lifestyle, and every purchase helps me to keep doing what I'm doing here on Ferrigno Freedom.